Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
Hi. Sometimes parents have the idea, especially right before their kid goes off to college, that maybe they can stave off that fear of them becoming binge drinkers that freshman year, that first or second weekend, by kind of teaching them how to drink. And so sometimes you'll have parents that will allow their children who are still underage, because the drinking age still is 21 in this country, to drink at home. They'll let them have a glass of wine or maybe even a mixed drink. And their thinking sometimes is just, well, I believe that if they learn how to drink responsibly, they won't be tempted. There's a problem with this. Underage drinking, even in your own home, is illegal. And a lot of times kids have already, if you're teaching them to drink at 18, many times they've already had that first beer at 14, 15, 16, 17 years old. But you doing it under your supervision actually isn't teaching them, because their brains are still developing. There's a very good chance that they may become addicted early. And let's revisit the fact that this is still illegal. And if you teach your children to drink, even if you have a pledge that says, okay, never drink and drive, you are still breaking the law. So, sisters, how many of us have seen these experiences with people thinking that they can teach their child to drink by allowing them to drink at home?
I have found that this is a very, very unsettling subject even to discuss. I remember a pastor friend who actually said, your kids are going to emulate whatever you do and even go further. If you are a teetotaler, say you don't drink at all, they may do a little bit of experimenting and drinking. If you are a drinker, your child is going to also drink and then even drink some more. And then if you are a person that maybe has alcoholic tendencies or you have uncontrolled drinking, you are setting your kids up to be a prime example of doing exactly what you do. But the fact that it is illegal to give an underage child a drink really speaks to other areas in your life that you may be allowing or opening a door for your kid to practice illegal behavior because you are that example. Now, if they sneak off and do all this stuff and you don't know, or you find out later that they did this, that really is on them because you have set the standard. But if you have lowered your standard due to maybe some pressure from friends who say, oh yeah, we let our kids, they get high at home and it's responsible getting high. We know how much weed they're smoking or whatever else they're doing that may be illegal. If it is against the law, it's still against the law. And you as a parent need to practice a standard that is not disobedient to the law. You're opening a door for them to sort of do what they want and forget about what the law says. My parents do it. My parents said it was okay, so I can do this too.
Well, I've had both friends who drank with their children at home, and I've had friends whose parents drank with them at home. And pretty much, kind of like what Barbara's saying, you set a standard of what they decide is, worth obeying in terms of the law. And if their parents have the attitude of, well, drinking is okay, then that's pretty much what the children are going to feel like. Well, it's okay. I'm not harming anybody. And sometimes you can get through life without a disaster, and sometimes you don't. I mean, sometimes you can be a 19-year-old drunkard and you don't really realize it because it was normal in your family, for people to get drunk at gatherings, get drunk during the week, get drunk when they come home from work, just stay drunk. So, I mean, I've had friends who, because that was a way of life in their family, you drink to relieve stress, to unwind, to celebrate. Since that was the culture in their household, that became what they did. And I saw some people drink themselves right out of college because, hangover on a Monday morning, can't get up and go to class, but they didn't see it as a problem. They didn't see their drinking as a problem because it was what they grew up with. And I've had also friends who got high with their children and whose parents got high with them. Same thing. And it was basically was the same thing. It's kind of like, well, ain't nobody's business what we do. But that becomes the habit that you form in your life. And there's nothing in your mind to say this is inappropriate. And it being illegal, like, oh, now that just means don't get caught. And that's how they pretty much looked at it. Don't get caught. I've had friends whose parents bailed them out of jail because they got caught with weed or an open bottle of alcohol in the car, and the parents, fussed at them more for getting caught than actually doing the thing. Because how you gonna fuss at your child for doing something that you pretty much condone them doing? So I think when people are drinkers, it's hard for them to see the reason for the laws, like, deaths from drunk driving and things like that. They don't comprehend that there's a reason that laws were put in place, because people were dying because they made choices while they were not mature enough to make choices, and they endangered somebody's life. They don't see that. So it's difficult when parents condone what is illegal, because then children do it. It's kind of like, well, the law is wrong for arresting us.
Right. And this is what's funny. It's because the law has changed many times, and there's a reason that it's 21 now, where I'm not sure, Naima, what the age of drinking was when you were 18.
I think it was 21, but I remember when we had a class trip, our high school had a class trip to Mexico where the drinking age was 16. And everybody got drunk, and they came back with all these stories about who got drunk and who. I mean, it just people who never drank before. They can drink. So
well, this is the thing. The law has changed. When I was 18, the age was 18 for, and it varied from state to state. Now, in Illinois, it was 19 for beer and wine. And then it was 21 for hard liquor. When I went to school in Kansas, the drinking age was 18 for beer and beer, and I think that it was 21 for hard liquor. Well, the thing is that and it was 3.2 beer, which is like Coors, which was the first time I ever heard of Coors. But you had all these freshmen coming in, finally being able to get away from home and finally being able to drink. And there were a lot of people who stayed drunk. And that was the whole thing. Granted, this was also a PWI. That's predominantly white institution, if you don't know.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, break it down.
So as opposed to an HBCU.
Yeah, like college or university.
But this was a PWI. So a lot of their culture was about drinking. A lot of white
I didn't know that till I went to school. That was the culture.
That was the culture. It was getting a keg. So you had a lot of people drinking. Now, by the time my daughter, 40 years later, got to school, uh, the obviously the drinking age is 21.
Mhm.
Did she have drinking before? Did she drink beforehand? Well, I plead the fifth because what she did not do it here.
Mm.
Was she in
And
another country like my son John?
and that's the other thing. When we went away, when we went to these other countries, when she had school trips, the teacher told them when she was in high school, she was told, well, yeah, when you all can, although the drinking age is 18 in some of these other countries, you will not be drinking because we are going under laws of the United States. You
Great.
are Americans, and if we catch you drinking, you will be sent home.
Send home. Yeah, that was.
So
Yeah.
they so and God bless Michael McGuire of Boston Latin Academy. The man is a saint, but he's also amazing with taking these kids on trips and teaching them that the world is their oyster. But he did not play.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
like
This
that.
is the
When
thing.
we supervise children going on the HBCU tours, these high school students, like, look, if we catch you with pot, alcohol, you going home, and
You're
your parents
going
paid
home.
for the trip because you knew before you got here we're not taking that because you're not going to be somewhere getting drunk and creating a scandal all over the news. No, we're not.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly right. But see, this is the thing is that people say, well, we're a country of laws. And yes, we are. But a lot of times when things like alcohol or maybe even little thefts like eating grapes while you're walking through the grocery store, but you are teach or sneaking a candy bar into your kid's thing and not paying for it. These are the things that you're teaching your child that it's okay to be a scufflaw, that it's
Just don't get caught.
okay to break the law if you don't get caught.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay if you break the law if you're in our house. The thing is that happens if your child is drinking at your house and that child's friend is also drinking at your house. If that child's friend leaves somewhere and either has an accident or something like that, you are liable.
Yeah,
If
I think.
your child goes out and drinks, you are liable. You are breaking the law. And this is the thing. Whether we agree with it or not, it's still the law.
Well, I
And
think what happens when you have people who have different standards, like
yes,
people who drink, they don't see it as a problem. They say, oh, well, we'll just keep it in our house. They don't see the law was made so that people of certain ages would not drink because they do not make responsible choices at that age.
and
And
also,
so when you send your child to somebody's house and they have different standards than you, if your child doesn't have it ingrained in them that I don't do this, yeah, it'll be easy to get
Caught up.
yeah,
and there's a reason.
there's always everybody was doing it. And that's what they always end up saying when they get caught.
Well, this is the
Somebody
thing,
was
though. This is the reason why they changed the law to 21.
doing-
Because when the drinking age was 18, they found that they would have more teenagers 17 and down to 14 who could get big brother or big sister to buy them beer. And they found that by the time they got 21, they were less likely to buy a 14-year-old beer. They
Mhm.
had learned enough, their brain had developed enough to that where they saw that this wasn't
Inappropriate.
this wasn't being the cool brother or sister. This was being irresponsible, and this was breaking
Yes.
the law. And when they changed, they saw the difference in children. And let's be real. When they're 15, 16-year-old and they're going out to parties, chances are they still are getting drunk and getting high, but at least they're trying to hide it.
Yeah.
And there's more pressure, and there's a lot of more pressure for them not to do it than if, like you said, everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
So you have to pick your spots. You tell them, look, I don't want you drinking, I don't want you getting high, and if that happens, and if I catch you, there will be consequences because your brain is not developed. And what happens if not everybody who's 14 and 15 who starts drinking or getting high gets addicted, but the ones who do, their emotional age ends
Freezes
right
at that age.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
they become And I've known people who started, with their lifestyle of drinking or drugging around
14,
16, 17 years old,
where
and
they're
they could be in their 40s and they are still emotionally that age. You are
Yes.
frozen to that age until you get through all of this because you have to grow up.
right, right.
So there's a lot of reasons not to laugh at your kid getting a fake ID, not to
Yeah.
laugh, not to, roll your eyes if they get, busted for underage drinking. And there's a reason for you not to say that it's okay for you to have a glass of wine at your house because they're 20 instead of 21.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's the thing, when they go away to college, because I was like a year earlier, and I think you all were too. I was 17 when I went.
I was 17 too.
Yeah.
18, and then I went to one of those, what'd you call it?
PWI.
So everybody drank beer. I mean, it was like Kool-Aid. They didn't really see it as alcohol because everybody drank beer. And so if you're in that environment, unless you have your own personal decision that you don't want to drink, it will be very difficult not to succumb to the pressure. And it really comes down to the child has to decide within themselves that that's not what they want to be. They don't want to be intoxicated. They don't want to be in an environment where somebody can take advantage of them because they're not
Right.
in their right mind. That has to be a personal choice. And sometimes into
Even
that
though,
maturity until later on in life, but that's the only way really
A
you
lot of date rapes come
really
from
learn.
those kind of
yes, and
drinking
even though that
episodes.
happens, what I was going to say, that still is not your fault. I don't want to say that. I don't want to victim blame or victim shame, but the thing is that it will be used against you even if
even in
it
a
still is not your fault, because a rapist is a rapist is a rapist. And that's
Yeah.
just all there is to it. And if you are too drunk to give consent, then you are being raped. But
Yeah.
the thing is that what we want to say, especially to young women, but also young men, do try to keep yourself to where you are in control. If
absolutely.
you go out and you're going to get drunk, you at least have a buddy with you, somebody, like Sarah's friends always like kept their locations on. They always looked
Mhm.
out. It was like the Marines, no woman left behind.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. But saying that, because people are going to experiment.
Yeah,
People are going
college is a place where you do what
to
you decide you want to do, regardless of what your parents told you. That's
Yeah, exactly. And you're going to make those mistakes. But what we're talking about today is parents don't start them on the path to breaking laws. Don't
Yeah.
yeah,
start them on the path. And I should say, full disclosure, of the three of us, none of us drink.
right, right.
So,
And it was a
so
conscious choice,
and it was a conscious choice
because
for
we've
many
seen the
personal
what
reasons.
can happen to your personality when you drink, and it was a
Yes,
decision
people think they
not
get
to.
cute. They don't. They just get obnoxious.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, sometimes because you might have some children that grow up in a household where parents drink, like that. Oh no, okay, I don't want to do that. And then you have some
Right.
who grow up in a house where parents drink. They go, oh yeah, that's cool.
And it's
I told you
normalized.
so.
Yes.
I tried at 12. So it can go either way with any kind of habit that a parent has. You can either influence them to imitate you, or you can influence them to go the opposite based on how they
Yes.
perceive what happened because of your habit.
I always say either you can be a good example or a cautionary tale.
Tail.
Either one.
Right.
Yeah. I think it really, when your children get to a point where they leave your home, even if they leave your home to go to a party at the age of 16, all you can do is really advise them and pray, because as you say, they're going to experiment, they're going to make decisions. Some things they're going to learn the hard way, and that's a choice too. I'm choosing to learn this lesson the hard way.
The
I'm
hard
choosing to
way.
be arrested. I'm choosing to have to be
Yes.
embarrassed because I had to call you to bail me out. I'm choosing to get into this car accident. I'm choosing this, even though you explain all these things could happen. I'm choosing to learn it through my experience. And I would say to any
And hopefully they learn it that first one time
that's what I was
and not
saying,
repeat
parent.
it.
Just say, okay,
Yes.
I'm not gonna fuss at you because I already told you. I don't even have to say I told you so. Hopefully this was painful enough where you don't have to learn it this way again. I'm hoping that the
Exactly.
pain of this will prevent you from making this choice in the future.
And no one was hurt or killed.
Yes. Yeah, because that's lifelong trauma, and you don't want that. But I don't think I didn't really ask Zakia things that she did in college. I trust that she incorporated the principles that she is living, and I have to let it go because I can't. Once they leave your house, you really can't do anything about it.
You
can set an
can't.
example
And
in the house.
if they come through unscathed and they come through and they learn lessons the easy way, the hard way, because a very wise friend of mine once told me they cannot use your experience. They can't learn from your experience.
Your experience.
And it was so hard at the time. I was going through a hard time, and it was so hard to hear that, but it made perfect sense that they can't learn from your experience. So sometimes, your kids are not going, you think they're not listening, but they still hear your voice in them. So if you teach them, look, this is the law. Maybe we don't agree with it, but this is the law, and I'm going to follow the law. And the thing is that you may say, well, yeah, but they're 18. They're going to go away to school. They're going to have these experiences, and I won't be there to take care of them. But you can still remind them, okay, if you're going to drink, even though we don't want you to, don't get into a car with someone to drink. And now, there's cabs, there's Ubers, there's all kinds of ways for them to get home safely. Right. So always, get them on your Uber or your Lyft or your Safer account. Safer is for women.
Some Uber drivers don't like to pick up people that drink because
they'll throw up in their car. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
But try to get home safely. But then learn from that experience. Learn from if you're too hungover to go to class. Learn from if you, from whatever. But the first thing you have to tell them, please don't break the law. It isn't worth it. And if you think that teaching them that they can drink responsibly at home, I think you're going to be sadly mistaken.
Well, I have a friend who talked about how she used cocaine responsibly. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. So she felt like she was responsible in her cocaine use.
And a lot of people feel the same way now. Marijuana is legal when you're 21, but a lot of people feel like that. And this is a choice, a personal choice I made not to get high. So I'm not, lording that over anyone or judging anyone. But the thing is that when your child is away from you, they need to hear your voice to say, be responsible, take care of yourself, because I'm not there. If you go away to school, I'm not going to be there to just, pick you up and then fuss at you. You may not get home safely. So that's the thing, is that I think we need to really start teaching our kids from the law point of view rather than thinking misguidedly that, okay, I'm going to teach them that you have a glass of wine or you have a couple beers and do this. You can't. Their bodies are different from yours. Even if you all are built exactly the same, they're still younger than you. And their brains are still developing in a different way. And you don't know what their addiction issues may or may not be. We tend to think of, especially us mothers, we all tend to think of these children because they once were a part of us, that they're still a part of us. They're not. Yeah. They're their own body.
They're an individual.
Yes. And they're going to have their own things. Now, does Sarah have a glass of wine from once in a while? Yes, she does. But she also is such a lightweight. She says this herself. She said, I'm such a lightweight, and if I even have a sip of wine, I don't drive. So she doesn't get behind the wheel. If she goes out with her friends, if she knows she's going to drive, she doesn't drink. And, and I just say, well, good, because one thing, driving while black is also a thing. So you do not want
to. You get stopped with alcohol on your breath, then that's another issue.
Exactly. You're going to jail whether you're drunk or not.
Yes.
So
sad reality.
Yeah.
We need to change those realities, but then we also, and it's hard when you are not one who drinks, you're not one who gets high. It's difficult to not sound judgmental to those who do.
Yes.
And your children are going to pick friends that mirror their principles and their values, and sometimes they'll pick friends that you really wish they hadn't, because they're friends who do things that you would hope they're not doing, and they may not tell you they're doing, but they are doing because they have the choice to do that. So even if you discover that your children are doing things that totally against all the principles that you taught, you have to let them live, because like you said, they can't learn from your experience. They can only learn from theirs. And once they leave your
they
house,
can't use the wisdom that you have.
they can't use your wisdom. They got to get their
They
own.
can't use your wisdom.
Fussing at them won't make them have it. You know, they'll just make them hide more from you what they're doing.
Right.
So at some point, and this was something I had to understand and swallow when Zakia went away to college. She is now a woman. Her life belongs to her. I cannot police what she does. I can't monitor what she does. I have to let her live.
Not be the helicopter parent.
Right. I mean, we used to make jokes about me being that parent like Goofy on a Goofy movie where he go to the college with his son and want to be his roommate and all that. You know, I mean, we made jokes about that, but I did let her live, even though she didn't go away to college, but she had the independence to make her own choices, and without me acting like, you know, okay, I'm checking on you. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? No, you know, she had her friends, she had her life, and I respected whatever her choices were. I'm grateful that she made good choices.
But even if they make bad choices,
she made some choices.
It's okay.
It's her life.
It's okay.
I have to respect her thoughts, her beliefs, and her decisions. That's the hardest thing to do if your child is doing something you really don't like. But we have to give them the respect that we wanted to have. You know, once I'm 18, legally adult, out of your house, it's my life now. You can't decide what I should be doing with my body, my mind, or anything else. That's the hardest thing.
Except you cannot drink until you're 21.
Yeah.
Well, you know the law.
And you don't want them learning how to skirt the law.
Well, I had a friend that told her children, look, if you get busted doing something illegal, don't call me, because I'm not coming to get you. Because I already told you, don't break the law. So if you break it, you can stay in the jail. Don't call me. I'm not coming. And sometimes that's what you have to let your children know. Look, you knew it was against the law when you did it. What you calling me for? You wanted to go to jail. You broke the law. Didn't you?
You break the law. I'm coming, but then you have to listen to it for the rest of your life.
You gotta stay in jail and hear my mouth. I thought I deserved it.
I told you.
Well, I think the important thing, though, is, as you said, we do have to emphasize what the law is. It's not a good idea to set an example by breaking it, even in the privacy of your own home. And if you decide to do that, don't be surprised if they decide to break the laws outside the home, because you're going to reap what you sow.
And another factor to take into account, if you are a parent and you are allowing your teenage child to drink in the home and the police do come, they will arrest you.
Yes. You could go to jail. So keep that in mind.
They ain't coming to get you.
They ain't coming to get you. Well, anyway, we have to go. Feel free to write in your comments. What do you let your child drink at home, or even have a little marijuana if that's what you like to do? Is it okay in your house? Do you think it's nobody's business? Tell us what you think about that, right?
And tell us why.
And why. Absolutely. Well, we've got to go. Make sure you like our Facebook page, 3 Black Moms, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, 3 Black Moms. Until next time, I'm Naima.
I'm Cheryl.
I'm Barbara. We are 3 Black Moms. Have a great week. Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're 3 Black Moms.